All going to get a certificate that they're all the 1,000th graduate of these courts, and we have our success rate is somewhere around 85 to 90%, which when you look at the recidivism rate for the average criminal act, it's
Phenomenal.
it's phenomenal, and we're also working on an alumni association where we're going to be offering to follow you for the rest of your life.
Really?
Yes, and we're extending it to all 1,000 graduates that have already gone through the program. And that's important because when you have these vulnerabilities with addictions,
Right.
That never completely goes away and can always be just over
Hand
your
over
shoulder.
your head,
Yes.
right.
So really excited about that. And with today's technology, how we can stay in contact with each other, we can literally say at 3 a.m, you're struggling, you think you're going to relapse, contact us. Somebody will answer and we'll come and get you.
That's amazing.
So
It really is.
But all the work that we put in during the courts, 2-3 years sometimes, it'll all be wasted.
Jim, you started this program in Will County, right?
Yes, in 1998, I wrote a grant to start our drug court, and we then got the full grant in 2000. That's when we officially opened our problem-solving courts. And in 2012, I had the honor of bringing a petition to our local circuit court when the legislature created the Veterans Court.
Right.
And I filed a petition asking that we implement one here in Will County, and it's been doing very well ever since.
When a veteran goes through the program or whatever his court order is that he has to complete, it's my understanding that will be removed from his record as well. Is that true?
Yes, depending on the offenses,
right.
and I don't have a list in front of me, but
Yeah.
the more serious offenses, it may not be completely
Right.
discharged. But the penalties change, and the ability for treatment is the most critical thing to avoid a relapse. And there was one individual who went through our Veterans Court. He was in there for 5 years, and it was very tragic. He wound up just voluntarily leaving. He had PTSD probably as seriously as we've ever seen anyone in the court. But while he was in the court, just shortly before he left, he was living at one of our facilities near the Bicentennial Park in Joliet. And he was walking back to his residence, and he saw 20, 30 people around the edge of the canal, and they were very excited and screaming. So he walked over to see what it was, and he looked in the water and saw a mother and her 2-year-old baby had fallen in the river.
Right.
And there's a sheer concrete wall there. You can't get out. And nobody's jumping in to help. As soon as he saw it, he took off his shoes and jumped in.
Get out.
And grabbed the baby and kept the baby above the water until help came. And when the fire chief got there, he said, had he not done that, that baby would have died.
Now, this is one of the
Participants, the
in the
veteran
Veterans
participants, yes. And we did everything we could for him, and his PTSD was so serious that he couldn't stop the drug use. But what I'm saying there is, if you want to see the measure of a human being, and he didn't want any publicity whatsoever.
Right.
He would have been on the front page of the paper, and everybody would have been patting him on the back.
Sure.
He didn't want any
High
of
fives.
that. He risked his life selflessly, showed the courage that got him through the battlefield, and then wanted nothing in return.
God bless him.
And tragically, though, we couldn't give him what he needed most, which was that graduation from Veterans Court. I'm still holding out hope. We keep trying to find out where he's at,
Right.
and see if we can't take one last run at it. But that shows you what some of these soldiers are really all about.
I'm telling you, Jim, you've been a huge supporter of K9s For Veterans and the Forgotten Warrior Memorial from day one. Okay, you're there at every ceremony to help support these families that lost a veteran to PTSD suicide.
Right.
Okay? It's so important that people recognize what PTSD is. And they need to come out to these ceremonies and
Right.
help these families through this process, because it's a healing thing for them.
But I think that's where what you've done is truly amazing. I mean, you have no obligation to do what you're doing. It's all from your heart. It's volunteer, and this program that you've created. How many dogs have you placed now?
Over 250.
Okay, so with 250 dogs placed, those veterans with PTSD that have one of your dogs have not committed suicide.
Now, we haven't lost one. Kenny,
That's
he can tell you, he works with these veterans every day at the training center, and they come in apprehensive, right, Ken?
Yeah, they come in, they backs against the wall, they're reluctant, they don't know, hey, is this really for me?
yeah.
And then the best part is, 2 months later, 3 months later, they're all standing around, they're talking, they're laughing, they're joking. And, like Mike always says, we don't know who saved who, but these dogs really do a lot for, like myself. I have 2 service dogs, one in training, but they're so fantastic. And
They
these
save
guys
lives.
and girls,
They do.
they save lives. And the dog is the best part, because that dog's with you 24/7. And you have 4 dogs, I have 4 dogs, so you know what I'm saying there.
Yeah.
And you, like Michael said, you do so much for us. It's unbelievable.
Jim, you have, I'm telling you, you have probably the strongest anti-cruelty laws around, right, as far as animal abuse?
Well, in, what was it, 1999, someone set a cat on fire in Joliet. And at that time, that was only a Class B misdemeanor, criminal damage to property. And I thought, my God, the person that did that is so incredibly dangerous. The FBI statistics are clear that, Dahmer, Gacy, all the mass murderers tortured animals when they were children. And so I wrote the animal torture bill for Illinois, went to Springfield, and they were laughing at me. They said, you want a felony for abuse of an animal?
Right.
Now, this is 26 years ago. So it was a little bit different perception back then.
Right.
And but I had all the FBI statistics, and we were able to get the animal husbandry part separate because people in the agricultural industry have a little bit different situation,
Right.
and so it doesn't apply to that. But the law got passed, and it was a Class 4 felony in 1999, and it's Class 3 now, and aggravated cruelty has moved up to a Class 4. And, I've got an animal protection unit in my office where I have 3 attorneys that I pay a stipend. So we have somebody available 24/7
Right.
all year round if there's ever a case that needs attention. And I think he probably just saw the most recent one
was
where
gonna
we had
ask,
the,
yeah.
we had the 6 dogs that were brutally murdered.
Right.
And, and we've got a reward offered for information. We're hoping that we could solve that. But the person that did that, the lack of compassion and empathy
Oh, my God.
that should be there with every
Terrible.
human is horrible, and that makes that person very dangerous to human beings.
Exactly.
So, I've got the League of Extraordinary K9s, which
I was gonna ask you
which
about
we
that.
unveiled in
Yeah.
2019, and we're at a point now where we're going to try to reach out to all the rescues, all the veterinarians, the pet stores, the groomers,
Right.
obviously all the government entities, municipalities, and the townships, and see how we can all communicate together. Because I've seen time and time again, when I learn of a problem, I usually can put things together to solve it. Somebody called my office at 5 o'clock as we're walking out the door and said, hey, I've got 3 dogs. I can't take care of them anymore. I heard Glasgow likes dogs. Can you help me? So we sat down. I got on the phone,
Joe.
made a bunch of phone calls, got a hold of Chief Pearts in Crete. He calls back. He says, we need a deputy because it's in county. Get a deputy out there. And then Dr. Askunis in Stager is a very charitable veterinarian. She took all 3 dogs. And one of them, unfortunately, passed away during the month that she had him. And then we got them to the to Naws in Mokina, and they were adopted. Now, again, that's a crazy story, but if we have something set up for
Right.
that 24/7, because I could have walked out the door and missed that call.
Sure.
And then those dogs, who knows where they end up. But there, all of these people that I mentioned that are in the business of protecting animals,
Right.
we need some way that when there are crises, that we all learn about it, and then we can decide whether or not that's something we need to get involved in, or just refer to somebody else. But right now, that's not happening, and I'm sure the rescues can tell you they're constantly their budgets are stressed because they're
Right.
volunteers, and if they had a network where they could exchange dogs, or if they've got clients who are looking for a certain type of dog, that type of thing.
Right. We have shelters calling us a lot. If they have a dog in the shelter that they feel would be a good fit to be a service dog, they'll reach
Right.
out to us and say, hey, you need to come and look at this dog because we think
Yep.
it's got the right personality and the right temperament
Right.
to be a service dog.
But there's a perfect example. All the rescues don't know about you.
No.
Okay, we want that day to be passed so that when all the positive resources that are out there are not just there, but are readily available,
Right.
and that they are available at the appropriate times. So I'm going to be sending a letter out within the week on the League of Extraordinary Canines, inviting people to a Zoom where we can start talking about it and trying to figure out maybe there's some sort of an AI vehicle that could manage that information and route it to the right people.
Right.
And then, but I've seen time and time again, when we are notified, we have resources that we can turn the thing around.
Well, you've got the connections to get that done.
Yes.
Not everybody has those connections. Now, don't you even have dogs that go to court as an advocacy for these children's court or something?
Yes, we have therapy dogs
Right.
that are both in my office and go to court. We started in 2012 with the Pause for Kids program at the Children's Advocacy Center. And that's been running beautifully ever since. And it makes all the difference in the world when these children come in under such trying times, and then they start playing with the dogs. And it takes them to a much better place.
Right,
And they're in a much better position to calmly give a statement and
Exactly.
tell us what happened to them.
How many dogs do you think you've given away to police departments?
It's north of 30.
I know.
But the importance there is that's public safety all the way.
Right.
I mean, those dogs can do things that human beings can't.
Right.
And they protect their handler. They solve crimes that wouldn't be solved otherwise. And they are a tremendous PR tool for the police department, reaching out to the community.
But who else does that other than you? I've never known anybody else to do that and provides these dogs to police departments other than.
Well,
No,
it's just
well,
common
common.
sense. I know. I'm able to do it, and tint meters are another thing that we've been distributing. These blacked out tinted windows. It's not safe to drive a car like that.
Right.
Right. So if an officer sees the tint, it's better than just having his opinion that it violated the law. By using the tint meter, he gets a scientific reading.
Really?
And yes, and he gets a certification. And he can testify as an expert in court. So there's
Right.
no, well, you were wrong about that. No, the tint meter said this is the
Because
light,
that is
light
dangerous
transmission.
for
Yeah.
a police officer making a
Yes.
stop. He can't see in that car.
Don't
Yes.
they double up?
Pardon me?
Don't the police officers double up with the tinted windows?
They used to. I mean, well, it depends on the budget for the police department.
Okay.
And that kind of shocked me because I always thought when a blacked out car is pulled over, you can't see what you're walking up to.
Exactly.
I mean, somebody could be pointing a gun at you. You wouldn't even know.
Right.
And I always thought they'd have a second car, but that's not always the case.
Right.
And so hopefully that's going to be remedied in the future. But again, these are simple tools to help protect the public. And we can see from the nonsense going on in Chicago right now, where they now find that 8% of these people that are on ankle monitors, they have no idea where they are.
How could that be?
Oh, it's
I mean,
it's
is
not
it the
a precise
staff that they
it's not a
don't
precise
know?
program, and obviously they got rid of the ankle monitors and nobody paid attention. Nobody followed up.
Is it they don't have the staff to follow up?
Again, I think it was run through the judge's office in Cook County, and Eileen O'Neill Burke, who is the new state's attorney, has made it clear that she said something very profound. She said ankle bracelets do not protect anybody from a violent offender.
No.
No.
Because if you violate the ankle bracelet, that punishment comes later. It doesn't stop you from doing the physical crime that you're committing.
Didn't they just have one in Chicago where he cut it off and then went out and committed a couple crimes a couple
Well,
days ago?
Incidents like that, sure,
Yeah, that's
that happens many times.
Jim, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You were so opposed to no bail.
Well, it wasn't just the no bail. it was the way the law was written originally.
Okay.
Okay. We've been able to work with the no bail, and like, I don't want to get into it. It's very complex, but
Okay.
but the initial law said that no matter what crime you committed, if you demanded trial, you'd be out in 90 days. And then they took away the judge's authority to issue a warrant if you didn't show up for your next court date. Well, that would be Armageddon. You could have a murderer standing across the
Right.
from the courthouse and just thumbing his nose at everybody. So that's why we filed the lawsuit. And when we did, we got a concession. They sat down and we got a 300-page amendment of that original law before it went into effect. And the media never covers that.
Right. They
The
don't
media
want
just
to,
thinks
no.
it's, the law was good from the beginning, and it wasn't. We had a 300-page amendment that was critical, that gave us the ability to manage our cases, and we have been in Will County. And our jail population has only dropped 100 because the really serious offenders wind up remaining in jail. The defense attorneys have to prepare these complex cases. They can't get that done in 90 days either. So once everything balanced out, the good defense attorneys, they need time to try the cases,
Right.
and the individuals stay in jail during that time, and that protects the public from these violent offenders that the current state's attorney in Cook County is saying is not happening there.
Right. It's just crazy, some of these laws that they're coming out with now. Here in Chicago, we were just talking about it during our pre-interview, just the craziness that's going on.
Yes. No, it's hopefully it's going to resolve itself. Unfortunately, this horrible murder of the police officer and the attempt murder of his partner by that by that
No.
offender,
Yeah.
that was out and should not have been out.
Right.
Let me ask you a question. Why do we not have the death penalty? You kill a police officer, you should not pass go. I mean, we should have an express line to where he's supposed to go. We need the death penalty back. I mean, I think it's not really going to deter a lot, but it will stop some. In my opinion, that's just my opinion, but the death penalty really needs to come back.
Well, in the 1990s, my office convicted 4 murderers, and they were put on death row. And obviously, when George Ryan decided that he was going to do away with the death penalty, they were no longer on death row. I don't know that the death penalty, I don't think, has any chance of coming back. What we need is life in prison. That means life in prison.
Right. No, never getting out.
Look, the sanctity of human life is the core of our existence.
Right.
If we don't fulfill our obligations in that area, and if you deliberately, intentionally take the life of another human being, I think that life in prison should be in play.
Should be mandatory.
Yes, and so it's not that way today, and so we've got some work to do. But I don't think the death penalty realistically has any chance of returning.
Right.
And then you have situations where occasionally there's a wrongful conviction. If that person were put to death and it was a wrongful conviction, that would be just as horrific as a murder.
Yes, it would be.
But life in prison, we can manage that. And if you take another person's life for all eternity, how can you complain that you get life in prison?
I think it should, like you said, it should be mandatory. There should be anything. It should be it. Done.
Well, there's a lot of criteria in sentencing. So, I mean, it's very complex. There's mental issues, there's guilty but mentally ill and other things. So, it's not a one-size-fits-all.
If there's one law that you'd like to see changed more than any other law, what would that law be? Put you
should
on
have
the spot
prepped
here.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that one. I have to think about it. But, I guess, life in prison for an intentional murder.
Right.
Okay, under the same principles that I was discussing.
Well, I think if they kill a police officer in the service of his duty,
Yes.
that shouldn't even be a question.
No, I agree.
Shouldn't
I
even
agree.
be a question. It's automatic life. You're guilty, automatic life.
Yes. I mean, police officers every day go to work and they're willing to put their lives on the line
Right.
to protect us, and we should do the same. And unfortunately, some of the people, the mental states that they're in that commit these kind of crimes, it doesn't matter what the punishment is. You know, that crime's going to be committed. But in the end result, we see when we let these violent offenders out, like this guy that smuggled a gun into the hospital and then shot both
How
officers
did they figure out
in
how
the
he
head.
got that gun in?
He somehow secreted it. I don't know how he did it. No, it's disgusting. But you know, the execution of the two police, well, of one of the officers, and the other one is very
He's
severely.
critical, right?
He's very severely injured. So, but I think that woke up the Sun-Times and the Tribune, and for the first time, they said, "Hey, wait a minute, maybe some of this Safety Act language needs to be fixed." That's the first time I've seen that. And we've got to run with that and make sure that the legislature follows through.
Right.
And we tighten this custody issue up, especially with regards to violent offenders.
Right. Without a question. Jim, I know you're going to be at our ceremony June 6th at the Forgotten Warrior Memorial. And like I said, you've been a huge supporter. We even have the mayor, Missy Shanahan, coming, and we also have
Terry Prince.
Terry Prince, the director of the VA, coming. How important is it for you to be there for these families?
But I think it's very important.
You're there
And,
all the time.
Well, my dad, my dad did 4 years in World War II in Italy and France. He was in the Army Air Corps, and they were constantly the airstrips. They knew where they were. They were constantly under attack, and he was an incredible role model for me. And we used to sit when I was a little kid. We'd sit on the living room floor, and he had a map of the world. And he would show me, where he was stationed
Right.
and describe, an attack or whatever, and that was amazing. But just the person that he was, the integrity that he always showed me,
Right.
and the bravery that he showed me, that sticks with you. And we see so many of these kids that are getting in trouble. During their formative years, they're in the wrong environment.
Right.
They're not with people that
They
are
care.
compassionate and loving, and teaching them the right attitude. And obviously that's why we have these problem-solving courts now, because we know everybody doesn't start with the same running start.
Right.
And the irony for me is, I was born in St. Vincent's Orphanage, and I it was a crapshoot who my parents were going to be, and my birth mother lied about how tall my birth father was. He was 6'2", and she said 5'6".
Oh,
So I got the 5'6" James Glasgow from Joliet. Honest to God, and they, Catholic charities did that back then so that you would fit in with the family, right?
Right.
And when I'm in high school, I'm 6'2", my dad's 5'6", my mom's 5'2", and all we ever got is, "How'd you get so tall?"
you are 6'2".
Not now. I'm 75 and I'm down to 6 foot, but I'm still fighting. No, but it's just those are things that are beyond your control, and I've
Right.
always taken that into account. I've always tried to help people less fortunate than myself, and I raised $100,000 when I got elected in 1992, and we put character education in the local Joliet schools. And we called the organization Ceasefire, which was an acronym for Character Education, Activate Self-Esteem,
Okay.
Fostering Individuals Respecting Each Other. I mean, that's everything in a nutshell.
Right.
If we did that for all our children and got them off to a running start, we wouldn't have a fraction of the problems that we have today.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. These families, when they come to the memorial, they all have the same thing to say. I never thought anyone was going to honor my son.
Yeah, that's
And it's so true. It's so important. So if you're out there and you can make it out to the memorial, Shanahan State Park, Shanahan, Illinois, on June 6th at 1 o'clock, please come out and show your support to the family. Jim, they just gave us that 1 minute warning.
Yep.
Well, then let's finish up with the suicide by the PTSD soldier is the same as if he was killed on the battlefield.
Exactly.
And there was just a delay. That has got to be communicated to the public.
Exactly. And always remember and say their name. Keep their memory alive.
Yes.
Jim, I want to thank you for being my guest tonight. It's so important that people understand, what's going on in Will County, and I think you're the best at what you're doing. So God bless you, and thank you for all you do for everyone in Will County.
Well, thank you for everything you do for our veterans.
Well, we try. You're a big
too.
supporter of ours.
Thank you.